Now, the Premier League shareholders have agreed to trial concussion substitutes, and our reporter Geraint Hughes has been across this story for us. So, Geraint, bring us the details on this decision and what else was on the agenda for today's meeting then?
Yeah, this you may recall just before Christmas that the Premier League voted in principle to adopt concussion substitutions. IFAB, which is the International Football Association Board, they were implementing a trial. All the the protocols for that were agreed before then. What is not happening though is that the trials don't begin immediately. There are still some details to be ironed out, given that it is all about player welfare, and also there are some privacy issues around medical data, etc. for the players. But this is what will happen, though, is that the Premier League have now officially voted on this, signed off that concussion substitutions will be used in the Premier League. What that means is 2 additional substitutions if a concussion substitution is allowed, and that can be reciprocated for the opposition as well. So if one side has two concussion substitutes, then the opposition side is allowed to make 2 substitutions as well. Let's make this very clear. This is in addition to whatever normal substitutions may be made during a game. Now, the reason why we can't get a date yet from the Premier League, they're really not quite sure yet. They're working as quickly as they can to get concussion substitutions to be used in matches, is because of the reporting process. I mentioned it a little bit earlier about sort of privacy and medical data as well. It's medical information has got to be resolved with IFAB and with FIFA as well. The full protocols, my understanding, have only recently come across the Premier League as well. So there's no point in rolling this out in the next few days when they're just still working through, dotting those I's, crossing those T's. What is really important here from the Premier League is player welfare is absolutely paramount, and today they have formally signed off, voted that the concussion substitutions will be used in Premier League games as well. They also discussed today about the curtailments of the season, given the landscape that we are in at the moment with COVID. They were just ongoing, continuing discussions as well. And they also voted, albeit retrospectively. Last week we brought you a lot of information about enhanced COVID protocols being used within Premier League clubs, the discussions that have gone back and forth between the Premier League, the clubs, managers, captains, players, the LMA as well. All those protocols actually came in last week and were used by the clubs. But for the Premier League rule book, you have to officially sign off on it, so they've retrospectively voted on that today as well. So it's been a busy old meeting, but they have now, as I say, retrospectively approved and voted for those enhanced COVID protocols, and of course today now they've approved the use of concussion substitutes in the Premier League. Date when they will come in, TBC.